notes for you. Notes. I have notes for you. Are you guys ready to take your own notes? I have notes for you. Okay. So one of the things I love about Shanda On Demand, it's a way that I can help you manage your mind, right, throughout the year. It's a way that I can help you manage your mind. You guys who are on the on-demand mastermind, getgoodcoaching.com, getgoodcoaching.com, just so you know, we're gonna grow this to 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people. The only people who will end up on the Zoom are the people who are investing a big whopping $30 a month. Right? And I definitely could say it's the best $30 a month value out there anywhere as far as helping you manage your mind and build your business. That being said, what I love about this is that I can design content based on where we are in the year. So for instance, we don't have very many weeks left to the year, right? We're almost done. Our legacy, right? We're talking about that at Zone Event, our legacy of 2023. So I want you to write down a little note for yourself right now. What has been your legacy in 2023? If you were to sum it up in a phrase or a word, what would it be? For me, it would be courageous. Right? I feel like this year I have been really courageous. Right? We bought our home in Puerto Rico. We fully made the move. I've done some things in the company. I've made some huge decisions for next year for hardcore business, and then also another company that I'm working with Savvy. Who are my savvy people? Put savvy in the chat for you guys who are my savvy people. I just like to see how many of you guys are actually watching and in circuit with me. So put savvy in the chat if you're a savvy. That's super cool. And then also I have my Hardcore Works company, which is hiremypeople.com, who repurpose all my stuff because guess what? I got tired of being the lifter all the time. Do you guys know what I mean by that? It's like, if you got to show up every single day and drive the wheel forward. Do you know what I mean? Like imagine those big wheels when you're a kid, the big wheels where you're like, you got to keep that thing moving. I was like, it was time for me to create a division inside of our company, which really became a whole nother company to help take content like this and repurpose it and put it on things like medium.com and some of the big sites that already have a lot of traffic and drive traffic back to an option to be able to work with us. Does that make sense? And one of the ways that we're going to do that is the Shanda On Demand. The On Demand Mastermind is the $30 mastermind, which is getgoodcoaching.com for you guys on social media, getgoodcoaching.com. All of the repurposed stuff will be driving back through coming into the On Demand Mastermind. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Yes, which is getgoodcoaching.com. You know why I chose getgoodcoaching.com? Because there's some bad coaching out there. I hate to say it in the industry. There's some coaching that doesn't take into account that if you just get all the tactics, you still have to have the leadership to drive forward. So I'm going to drop what's called a mentor moment on you right now. Everybody needs to look back on your life and realize in every hard moment, there's somebody in your life that's spoken into you. Do you know what I mean? There was somebody that just had the word, they had the energy, or they had the ass kicking with you, or the hug, whatever it is that you needed. They were there to help you get a new perspective. And when your perspective shift, then what happened is you got out of that hard moment. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes? You got out of that hard moment. And what's always amazing to me is how quickly we can shift. And we can go from struggling to success very, very quickly. So here's a mentor moment that happened in my life. Some of you guys know parts of this. I remember, I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget. So I had the courage to buy a 1-bedroom condo. It was my first house that I'd ever bought. It was on the Las Vegas Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. I bought this 1-bedroom condo. I loved this 1-bedroom condo. Like I felt like Shanda Sumter had just made it, right? Like I owned my own place. Everything was amazing. It was on the Las Vegas Strip. I felt like I made a really good decision for my life, which I did. And I lived in that 1-bedroom condo. I loved it. I decorated it. I remember I had to go get, something I learned very early is to get lines of credit or borrow money, whether it's high or low interest rates. Funny enough, and I'll explain that in a second. I went and I got an RC Willey credit card for RC Willey, the furniture store. You guys follow me here? You guys who don't live in America, I don't think RC Willey is anywhere else, but it's not exactly the most glamorous furniture place, but it was amazing to me. Because I remember still the table I bought. I bought a really big square table in my little 1-bedroom apartment, and it was like this high table with high seats, and it looked good to me, but I'm sure if a designer, any of you guys, who are my people who are pretty good designers out there, put a D in the chat. You're a pretty good designer. Put a D in the chat. I want to see you out there. I might have to like call you for some advice. Put a D in the chat for all my good designers. I'm not one of them. And so I know where I'm good. I'm good at making money. I'm good at getting you out of any sticky situation and getting you to leave sticky and get to success. I'm good at getting you to move, right? And so, but design is not my thing. And so you probably would have walked into my condo and thought that it looked ridiculous, but I loved it. I was so proud of it. My perception was I felt like $1 million in it. And I literally created an insane amount of money for my life at that time when I bought that condo. Write this down. Your atmosphere matters. Your atmosphere matters, right? And so in every area. Okay, so I have a woman who dresses me, Carla. Right? And Carla will be at Zone event. She has sent me all my Zone clothes. I've tried them all on. I've gotten certain things hemmed. Okay, so do you know when I invested in Carla, I didn't want to invest in her because I didn't want to invest in me. I didn't want to invest in somebody to cook for me because I thought it was too expensive, even when I had money. Okay, I didn't consider a chef until I had money. Right? And so, but it was so hard for me to pay for the things that contributed to me. It's never been hard for me to figure out how to pay for the mentors or, a virtual assistant. Like, I don't know, those decisions, even when I had nothing, came easy. But the decisions to work on me, which is my brand, have come extraordinarily hard. Okay, however, here's what's wild. When I hired Carla, she took pictures and dressed me, did my hair and makeup, and we took those pictures and we put them on simple banners that I paid $5 for the banners to be created on Fiverr.com. So I didn't have a great graphic designer per se, right? We took Carla's outfits on me and took pictures, and my website traffic jumped by 600% overnight. That's wild to me. So if you don't think it matters what you look like, it does. It absolutely. So somebody might say, well, what about like someone like Jesse Itzler? Yeah, but that's his brand. Do you get what I'm saying? Like his brand is, now he has all day running, right? His shorts and and that's his brand for that community, right? And so you have to ask yourself, what is your brand? So I want you to write that down. So now I walk into my closet in this house, and it is absolutely awful. It's awful. It's a big room, but it is awful. Like I hope the past owners are not watching me right now, but it is, I'm going to stop there because just in case they're watching me, I don't want them to feel bad, but it's awful. Okay. And so I have cabinets being made, like the cabinets that open up like this. So I have these beautiful floor to ceiling custom cabinets being made so that when you walk in the dressing room, essentially of the walk-in closet, it makes you feel like you're a millionaire. Right? And so people will say, fake it till you make it. I'm telling you, your atmosphere matters more than you think. Okay. So when your atmosphere feels distracted, like I will tell you, like if there's papers everywhere, boxes, I do have boxes in different places right now, but I had somebody here today that's unpacking boxes, and we'll have that all complete hopefully by the end of the week or early next week. Right. And so when you look at your brand, I want you to know your brand, write this down. It's your attitude, so you can up level it. Okay. That's always the biggest prayer for myself, is to keep getting a better attitude. It really is. Like, I'm like, ooh, I didn't really say that very nicely. Okay. And I forgive myself fast. I don't know if this helps you guys. Does it help? I forgive myself fast. I used to be the girl that felt bad about all my failures, and that kept me in bed. right? Like that kept me in bed. It kept me depressed. It kept me, it kept me not producing. It kept my bank account continuing to get more empty. You guys get what I'm saying? So you can generate, somebody challenged me last year to generate $1.4 million in a month, and I generated 1.7. And I tracked it every single day to hit it, right? And I did that in 3 weeks. Then I just got challenged to, can you create $200,000 out of the thin air? And I created 135,000, but the week's not over. Okay. And there's no spot in my life to figure out how to create that, right? My calendar's been booked for a long time. So that's the type of stuff that's thinking. It's atmosphere of my mind, atmosphere around me. I want a constant reminder of who I am or who I'm becoming. Does that make sense? So some of you guys, I'm going to give you some coaching here. I'm going to give you a challenge. I challenge you to walk into your closet. And even though you might love that shirt because it's from Coco Chanel, but it's uglier than shit and you're never going to wear it, like give it away or throw it out, donate it, right? I'm going to recommend that you go in your closet because I used to do that. I remember this Dior, I can still see it in my head. I don't even know how I got it. It was probably a secondhand store, but there was this Dior track jacket. It was navy blue. It had the D's on it and a little white shiny strip. And it just didn't look good on my body. Do you know what I mean? Like if I would have been like a size 2 at the time and maybe like 6 foot tall or 5'9", all the 5'9", 6 foot tall women right now are going, oh, I wish I was shorter. I'm like, I wish I was taller. Right. And so, it's like, I kept that in my closet. I moved it from Canada to Las Vegas, from Las Vegas to California. And I only ever wore it twice, but it like signified something to me. Do you know what I mean? So what would have been powerful is for me to share that with a mentor and a mentor say, Shanda, why don't you donate that or go sell it to a secondhand store and go get the Dior jacket that fits you right. But that would have been like investing in me. And so the reason why I think this is really important is when I wouldn't invest in me, there was a part of me that didn't believe unconsciously that it really mattered. Like it was more about if I work harder, grind harder, whatever, that somehow it's going to come together. And you hear that all over these platforms, especially in my field of entrepreneurship. However, I'm going to tell you, the most successful people I know have big chunks of space that they can think. They have a lake house or they have something, and you don't need to have a lake house. You could go on miracle walks like I talked about on Monday, right? Like you've got to create space to be able to think. And I undervalued my thinking because I undervalued me. I thought if I could just work hard enough that somehow I'd get there, and it never panned out. Okay, like it never panned out. It wasn't until I made the investment in a fitness coach to train me for triathlons did I figure out how to get the mental grit to apply it to my business to follow through. It wasn't until I invested in leadership before I owned our leadership program, I took it, that literally, you want to see how crazy I am for you guys who have done HCL? I did leadership before I owned it, which is a huge commitment, for 4 months of my life. And I moved everything in my life to do it. And then I staffed for 4 years straight, one after another. As soon as the class got out, I went right back in and staffed. That's when I did $170 million in real estate sales. How do you do that? Anybody who's done HCL, they know it's like 9-hour days, right? Like, how did I do that? Because you have to sleep. I don't know. All I know is I thought differently. And honestly, I've never been able to replicate that in my entire life is when I was staffing like that for 4 years straight. It was a trainer who looked at me and said, Shanda, you are overprocessed. Another mentor moment. You're overprocessed. You need to get out of the training room. You get what I'm saying? Like it almost became a vice. Some of you guys use personal development as a vice. Like if you keep working on yourself, somehow life is going to get better. But it's like, yes, life does get better, but you also have to get out there and apply it, right? So here's the story that I want to share with you today. About a 1-bedroom condo, had the courage. It was awesome. Then I had the courage to buy a 2-bedroom condo. Notice I went up in value, right? If you're in a relationship right now that's ending, I want you to know it doesn't get worse, it gets better. The next person coming into your life is going to be way better than the one you have now. Okay, so if there's a relationship ending right now, know that it is going to get better. You don't get worse at picking, you get better, right? Raise your standards, okay? So I go from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom condo. That 2-bedroom condo was like luxury to me, okay? I can't remember how much it was, but it was probably a couple $100,000, maybe 250 or 275, but it felt like, I mean, it might as well have been $1 million investment to me. It was huge to me at that time to have 2 condos. Now that was a 2-bedroom. I started in a 1-bedroom. That 2-bedroom was also on the Las Vegas Strip. So I felt like a boss. How could I ever lose? This is going to be amazing. But it didn't close for 3 years. So I knew I had 3 years to shore up my ability to be the identity or the woman that it took to take down that condo. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Yes. I still build like this. I call them runways. So then I get that condo. That condo is like, I put my deposit on, it's being built. I can see it getting built in front of my other condo building. And now my friend Carrie says, let's real estate invest together. I was like, awesome. So she was going through a divorce. So she didn't want the real estate investment that we were going into in her name because she was going through a divorce, right? And so I put it in my name, I put it under my credit, and she just gave me the cash. Guys, follow me here? That was a $500,000 investment. I remember thinking, woo, this is a little risky, but I'm gonna make it, right? And I was just like, I just felt like I was on cloud 9 until boom, boom. The real estate market got shot down. It felt like overnight to me, right? Many real estate investors did not see it coming. Many brokers did not see it coming. It was a very small percentage, one of them being my stepdad, who has mentored me for many, many years, said, Shanda, we're in a bubble. You've never seen a bubble, because I was too young at that point. He goes, you've never seen a bubble in your life. And when a bubble pops, you just don't want to be caught in that. I called him cheap. Yes, I did. I called him cheap. And because I thought that he should be investing in real estate and buying like that. I wanted him to buy this like penthouse condo from me. And I wanted my family to be in Vegas with me. I don't even live in Vegas anymore, but I had a vision. Anyway, long story short, the market pops. I can't rent the $500,000 home. I'm so upset at my good friend because the credit's under my name. So my credit's getting slammed. I feel like she's completely betrayed me, which she has not. I mean, she did not betray me. We went into an agreement, right? You guys, when I hire my coach, right? I'm in an agreement. I don't just say, oh my gosh, I got COVID, it's time. Like I can't be in my agreement anymore. Or my husband slipped and broke his hip and I got a medical bill. Like it doesn't work. I know. I lived 7 years bad credit because the banks didn't say, oh, it's okay, Shanda. It's okay that it was not in your business partner's name. Like that is not, it's wild how many people write bad reviews for being kept in their commitments. Isn't it wild, right? You guys hear what I'm saying? Yes. And so I share this with you because in that moment, the atmosphere around me was chaos and I couldn't get out of bed. Right? So some of you guys might be in some variation of this somewhere. I couldn't get out of bed. And so I avoided selling like the plague because I couldn't talk to anybody because my energy was so low. And so I share this with you for one main reason. And that is it only took 3 days. It really took 2 days, but 3 days. I committed to write down every single day, twice a day, the moment I woke up in the morning and the moment I went to bed. And this is where being coachable matters, right? Because if the atmosphere in your mind, the atmosphere around you is not great, then it's your responsibility to clean it up. And if you've ever noticed in your life, if you can think, maybe you're in a moment like that right now, or maybe you've definitely been in one, right? How many guys have been in a hard moment, put hard, right? It's like, yeah, like put hard. Now everybody look at the chat. Right? And if you're just watching, you're not putting the word hard, you're a taker, be a giver. Put hard so that everybody's contributing word hard, if somebody's going through a hard moment right now, they stop feeling alone. And the more that chat fills up, the more you start to go, I am not a loser. I am not a loser. You are not a loser. We are not losers. If we're going through a hard moment, that means that we actually risked somewhere. We risked our heart. We risked our finances. We risked somewhere. But now this is the part that matters. When people talk about a pivot, right? When people talk about a pivot, it is actually if you back down and don't get through the hard. If you, and I don't mean wait it out. Okay, like I don't mean wait it out. I mean, if you don't spot an opportunity when you're in a hard, you are wasting your time. Okay, I'm going to tell you the best coaching I ever give somebody is not when they're in the best mood. Like that's fun for me. I love it because they go take action. It's fun. But the best success stories are the people that are relentlessly in speed, failing every single day. Right? The ones I say, track your end of day revenue. It's like 0, 0, 0, 0, 200, 500, 700, 7,000, 20,000, 80,000, 0, 0, 0, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 0, 0. And then what happens is you start to go, holy shit, every day I can make money. Because you just said, you know what, I'm gonna commit that every day my company generates money, every day. And it might be first from your pure grit of you making offers, but then you could go, oh, Shanda, how do I automate that? Right? You guys coming to the Zone event that have the funnel building workshop at 5 p.m. the day before on the 27th of this month, that's automation. Right? Like, how do you get yourself so that there's automation? Well, that's a second lift. There's your lift and there's a second lift. So when I was walking through that challenge, every day I wrote twice a day, and that was my commitment. I was coachable. By the way, my coach actually fired me, just so you know. She walked out of a Starbucks and said, you won't do anything I tell you to do. And she fired me. And then I really hit rock bottom because now I had nobody to complain to. I was alone. I was single. I was living in America. I'm Canadian. I'm American now, but I'm Canadian by birth. And I had no one. No one. So there's no other way but to realize that if it's going to happen, you're going to have to do it. Right? And so when my coach fired me, it was one of the best things she ever did for me. So I wrote twice a day. Not what I was grateful for, because I was grateful for exactly nothing. Okay, so I'm not a big fan on, like, I'm just not this is not, no, I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I'm going to say it. There's a difference between, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to class it up. So, because I can just tell there's probably a kid watching or something like that. So I'm not going to say it. So there is a difference between having a beautiful, passionate kiss and just, or a kiss with someone who's a horrible kisser and sucks your whole face down. Who's ever had a sloppy kiss? Come on. Any of you guys? I mean, I think everybody's had a sloppy kiss where the person devours your entire face. You're like, oh God, please, right? Like, it's like not a great thing, right? So I wasn't grateful for anything. So I was not going to try and write, for all you gratitude lovers, I was not going to try and write, oh, I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head, because I wasn't. There was no appreciation in any bone in my body at that point in time. I felt like a loser. I was losing 3 homes. I did the thing that you were supposed to do, which was risk. I did all the stuff. And I would do it all again, because that was the moment I became a cash queen. And I'll tell you how. I wrote down what I was proud of myself for and why, and I committed to doing it 10 minutes twice a day. So 10 minutes in the morning, I just set an alarm on my phone. I put it beside me and I wrote, I'm proud of myself for moving to America with $500 in my pocket, because it shows me that I can do it. Right? I'm proud of myself that I broke up with that guy, because I'm finally getting some self-worth. I'm proud of myself that I went for a walk today, whatever. You get what I'm saying? And what I was doing was, because I had to do it for 10 minutes, just, you guys who have ever written books, you know, if you just commit to a time frame, you will produce. Right? And so I did that 10 minutes a day. It's important to say why you're proud of yourself. And what happened was that proud of myself flipped to gratitude organically. I've given this exercise to so many people. Within day 2, somebody walked out to me, funny enough, she was my leadership coach when I did the leadership training. And she came to me and she knew me and she said, Shanda, I'm going to give you $5,000. That was my first, all the people who teach the law of attraction, this is the stuff that they're insinuating to, right? Like, you attract the people in your life that you are like. And so if you're not loving who you've attracted into your life, well, you need to go look in the mirror and stop making them wrong. They might be just happy with their income. They might be happy with their lifestyle, happy with their choices. Like, who are you to say that they should be bigger, better, whatever? You get what I'm saying? Like, they're a mirror of you. Right? I'll tell you who you are. If I go hang out with you and have dinner, I will tell you who you are, right? By the people that you spend your time with. Are you giving? Are you loving? Or are you hanging out with a bunch of takers? Well, you might think you're giving, but you're not. Not if you're hanging out with a bunch of takers, you're not giving. Because like people always, maybe you're giving and I'll lend you my pen, you can borrow my car, but maybe you're not giving in your heart. Maybe you're not giving in your time. Right? Like, so takers always attract each other and givers always attract each other. So this woman walks up to me, Kimiko was her name, and she said, I'm going to give you $5,000. And I felt like a cartoon where the water comes from your feet all the way up your whole body and comes out your eyeballs. I'm telling you, I had the vision of me being a cartoon character because it happened just like that. I felt the heat and the crying come all the way up my body and out my eyeballs. And I was doing the ugly cry because somebody saw me. And I said to her, I said, I don't know when I can ever pay you back. And she said, Shanda, I believe in you. If anybody can make it, it's you. I've seen you. You're just going through a hard season. But I had never really had a good season. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never really had a good season. And so, like, it felt like a pipe dream. But when she saw me and she invested in me like that, she had gotten like $7,000 or $10,000 or $9,000 from some sort of, somebody passed away and she got that money. She gave me almost all of it. That was the day that everything changed for me. Then I started talking to my parents about how hard it was that I was going through what I was going through, because now I had these real estate homes. I was living in one that was getting foreclosure notices, which is about the same as an eviction notice, right? And they were going to lock up the houses. And so I didn't know if I was going to come home and I wasn't going to have pictures, baby pictures, parent pictures. Like, I didn't know if all my clothes were going to be locked up and I'd be on the street someday. At that point, I would have went back to Canada, right? And so long story short, I was telling my stepdad on the phone and I was driving through a Starbucks. That's actually the funniest thing in the world, because I was probably buying the equivalent of a $5 coffee, right? And never stopped my coffee habit, but couldn't pay my houses. And so driving through Starbucks, and he said, Shanda, you're young, let your homes go into foreclosure. You're going to live with bad credit. You're probably going to get to live in your house for maybe 2 months or 6 months or 10 months before they lock it down and you can't get in anymore. He goes, use it as an opportunity to build your business. And he goes, by the time the 7 years of bad credit is up, your credit will be repaired and you will have been forced to learn how to create cash. Remember when I started this live? If you're just tuning in on social media now, you don't know how I started this live. I was challenged last year to generate $1.4 million in 1 month. I did 1.7 in 3 weeks. I was challenged to generate $200,000 by somebody just recently. I generated, I think it's like 165 or somewhere around there. So I'm somewhere around 165,000. And it's not like I put a bunch of effort into it. Okay, I did about a 20-minute phone call and some text messages. Okay, and I didn't borrow a dollar anywhere. I generated it. Okay, and borrowing is generating too, but I didn't borrow. It was in that time of my life that my stepdad, a mentor moment, where he spoke into me and said, here's the opportunity. You're going to learn how to create cash flow, Shanda. So when the market repairs, you're going to be ready to get back into the real estate market. Your credit will be repaired, but you will be an income cash generating machine, which means nobody will ever be able to take your life away from you, even if you make a bad investment ever again. You'll be fine. Because now, and so you guys, I unhooked in that moment my integrity, my identity. He was like, Shanda, he goes, I've never filed bankruptcy, but I've lost it all 5 times. At one point at my birthday, he said, before I knew you and your mother, one time, it was a whole story, by the way, stepmom and stepmother are married for another show. Okay, so, but my, before he was in my life. And so he said he had a birthday that they put all 5 of his losing everything years on the birthday cake because they were reminding him of how resilient he is and how he got through it all. Okay, so I share this with you because I did exactly what he told me to do. My depression lifted immediately. I didn't feel like a loser anymore. I felt like I was making a smart decision, and that's when I learned how to create cash. The next 7 years of my life, I created cash. I had to create cash for cars. If I got a loan, it was super, super high interest, like the interest rates are now. And I learned to generate the cash, even if I was paying a car payment at a high interest rate, I learned to generate the cash. Now I'm smarter today because I'm wiser today. I buy real estate seller finance. I set my own terms, and real estate agents won't even place my offers because they're embarrassed. And I'm like, yeah, I know how much money you have in the bank. Not much. Because if you're not embarrassed to make the offer, you're paying too much. So I'm going to end this Shanda on Demand today. Was it worth it? Was it worth being here? Would you recommend it? You guys on social media, would you share it on social media? You guys on Zoom can't do that. But on social media, would you go ahead and just hit the share button and share this with a few other people? Because I guarantee you there's some people right now that are facing some hard moments. And if they're not right now, they probably will be. I'm telling you, the market that we're in is the best market ever. And it's going to be 7 to 8 to 9 years before we see this again. Grab a hold of somebody like me that has been in a market like this and massively succeeded, right? Because it's like, listen, you got to grab a hold of mentors who have actually walked these seasons and crushed it. If you're noticing, there's a lot of really, really great mentors out there that have done really, really well that are sharing that they're actually in a hard moment right now and that they're mentally walking through things. And you should watch them because they're processing. And I love the honest ones that come out and don't like do the dog and pony show in front of you. They actually honestly show you. So if you are walking through a hard moment right now, you must spot the opportunity, because the opportunity in this moment has speed to it. And that speed is not available without a hard moment. Okay, so it's almost like the quantum leap happens in the hardest moments. Do you guys get what I'm saying? And it's not taught in school, and it's not intuitive. Intuition is there to keep you safe. There is nothing about a hard moment that feels safe. So intuition would not be the thing that I would be relying on, just like picking a mentor that understands this market, right? So I'm going to win. Are you guys going to win? I'm going to win. Are you guys going to win? I want you to put win in the chat if you're someone who's going to win. I'm going to end this live. I encourage you twice a day, even if you're going through a great time. What are you proud of yourself for and why? Twice a day, 10 minutes. See how that unlocks your mind to the next level. Spot the opportunity in anything that you're walking through right now. You should have a hard moment happening somewhere in your life right now. Otherwise, you are literally on the couch and you need to come over here to Puerto Rico so I can kick your little tushy to make a bigger goal, a bigger dream, because something should be falling apart in your life right now. God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.